Hello, have you started February 2023 with no strategy at all for the year yet? Perhaps you're seeing all this talk about people who have done their year plans and you are just feeling confused and thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, this video is for you. Don't worry, I don't know if you've heard, but actually February is the new January. It is okay that you haven't done your plan and your strategy for the year. I'm going to talk you through 6 very easy ways that you can begin to create your strategy for this year. And what's more, if it's helpful, I do also have a workbook that you can simply download and actually use that whilst you're listening to the video. Just pause me at the appropriate moments. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into your strategy for 2023. So the first thing that I just would love to say to you is, listen, it's okay. There is sometimes so much pressure about creating your strategy in January that you feel really disheartened when you haven't been able to do it. But in reality, let's think about it. December, for most of us, tends to be incredibly frantic. We are buying presents, we're getting all the food in, we're thinking about how to theme our Christmas table. Well, those of us in the creative industry, we're hosting. I know that I hosted 6 days on the trot last year. So you have all of that. You have the overeating, you have the exhaustion from actually the whole of December. And then you get back into work in January and you're playing catch up. Is it any wonder that it could be really hard to focus on your strategy for the rest of the year? So it is actually perfectly okay if you ease into the year. I've spoken about this before. Ease into the year and go at your own pace. And then when you're ready, start creating your strategy. But it is important that you do it. Don't avoid it. Use this video to help you, but obviously if you need further support, then just reach out to somebody. I also have a blog post, so if you prefer to read the instructions, then just head on over to my blog and it has all the steps written down there for you as well. Okay, so the first thing is that we need to review 2022. Now, I know that often we're told, don't look back, just continue on your path and going forwards. And that is true to a certain extent. However, it is really important that we do review our previous year. What went well? What didn't go well? It's important to celebrate the wins. All those small wins. I have so many clients that have achieved amazing things in the year, but they focus on perhaps that one thing that didn't go well. But what I want you to do is take a note of all the amazing things that happened, what went well. Think about it from a personal point of view, business point of view, and your wealth. Okay, all 3 areas are really important. So what exciting things happened? Did you go on any amazing holidays? Did you launch any new services? Did you work with some amazing clients? Perhaps you went through a rebrand or you had a personal branded. I want all those things written down. Throw them down in the workbook or on your notepad, whatever you're using. And at the same time, I want you to think about, okay, what didn't go well? So perhaps your health was an issue. Perhaps there were some personal things that were out of your control. Maybe there was a service that you launched and it was a bit of a flop. And by the way, that's okay. That happens to all of us. Even Walt Disney was told he wasn't creative enough many years before he launched what we now know and love. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to recognise that not everything will go according to plan. Some things will flop. Some things you will create that you think is amazing, but other people don't agree. This is why actually the research stage is really important. So make sure that you are doing the research and polling your groups and your audience to make sure that it is a service or product that people are looking for. So review your year, what went well, what didn't go well. What can you learn from it? if you were going to ask yourself a serious question, so for things that went well, why did they go well? What did you do that was different? Did you implement new habits, new mindset rituals? Perhaps you was working with a coach. Maybe you'd enrolled in a program. So why do you think these things went well? And then for the things that didn't go well, why? Did technology let you down? Was it your health, as I said? Was it that you hadn't done the research? So start to think about the why something did work or why it didn't work. Because only then can you be analytical and make changes for this year. Because the key is that you learn from your previous year, both the highs and the lows. That is how you begin to grow and you scale, is by learning from what has gone on before. Okay, so that is step one, look backwards. And step two is I'm going to encourage you to dream a little bit. Okay, so all too often we can set goals that are really easy, that are safe, that we know are achievable, almost because what we want to do is just tick them off our to-do list. But what I would encourage you to do instead is actually create those goals that are a bit scary. Create those goals that make your heart stop. The ones where you begin to talk yourself out of it. I want you to get excited and scared by the goals that you are setting. Don't just play it safe. Now, if you struggle with this, I do have a future self visualization. So it's a short audio from me to really help you visualize what your future could be like. And sometimes just by listening to that, that can really help open your mind and kind of open up your subconscious to what it is that you really want. So I will include the link to that below, so you can just simply listen to that if it is helpful, okay? If you are struggling with thinking about what those big goals are. So I want you to think about the goals that bring you joy, the goals that could give you the freedom that you desire, the ones that makes your heart stop with excitement. What are those goals? What are those goals? I want you to think big, and I want you to push out of that comfort zone, because nothing amazing happens in your comfort zone. You've got to get a little bit uncomfortable in order to begin to scale and grow your business. So that is step two. You're dreaming big. You're not thinking about the how. You're literally dreaming big. What would you really want this year? What goals would excite you from both like a personal and business point of view as well? Okay, we're now going to be moving on to the how. Okay, so we've reviewed our year. We have really thought about those big, scary goals for this year. Next step is thinking about the how. So what I would encourage you to do is you will be writing those goals down. Okay, so from your brainstorming in the previous exercise, you're now going to begin to pick out those goals. So write them down on your notepad or in the workbook, whatever option you have chosen to use. Remember to split them in those three areas: personal, business, and wealth. You are going to think about when those goals might be implemented. So when do they need to be actioned? What I get my clients to do, and I do something similar, is I just have a very, very simple sheet. So you could probably just draw that yourself. You could probably get it from your computer. If you want me to send you this, just let me know and I can easily send this over to you. But what I begin to do is I begin to plot the year out. So with those goals, I just begin to plot it out. Okay, that's just literally step one, just beginning to plot it out, because sometimes what happens is we put everything in quarter one. I'm going to do it all in the first 3 months of the year. Whereas, it's not going to quite be possible. Remember that everything takes time. So do this in pencil, and then you can move things around and you can change it until it feels like, okay, this could work. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Then you are going to start thinking about how these tasks can be actioned. So you're going to give them a deadline. So when does it need to happen by? And then you're going to start breaking these goals down into tangible chunks. Now, I've spoken about this so many times. I cover this in our 90-day planning training, and I will also include a link to a blog post that talks about that more, and there's a free workbook with that as well. So 90-day planning, I do this with my clients, I do this with all my members, and I do it myself. This is the exact model that I use for myself. So you're going to begin to break those goals down into tangible chunks. Think about who's going to complete the task. Is it you? Is it a team member? Are you outsourcing it? Is there a cost associated to completing this goal? How long will each task take? How long will each task take? This will help you reevaluate any deadlines and adjust it accordingly. Now, the way that I explain this to my clients, I'm just going to give you an example. If you're not too sure what I mean by breaking your goals down, I'm going to explain this for you. And this is how I explain it to all my clients. The easiest way to describe what I mean is, let's say that you want to, that one of your goals is that each month you're going to publish one blog post. Okay, so what I mean by breaking that down is, you might just think, oh, okay, that doesn't take long to do. And what will happen is you'll find that you begin to struggle each month with finding the time to do it. So using that as an example, so step one might be researching the topic that you want to write about. So you'll be going onto Google, going onto Pinterest, see which titles are ranking higher, which ones seem to be popular titles. So you've chosen your topic. You're then going to do the research into that. So a lot of it you may well know yourself and you can just happily write. But there might be an aspect of you need to do some research and get some facts and figures and quotes and things like that. So you're then going to do that. You're then going to write your blog post, write your article. You will be choosing images to go alongside it or creating graphics on Canva. Then in terms of the images, you're going to think about, okay, how am I going to describe those images to help me with my SEO and to help me in terms of my ranking. You're then going to begin to put all of that you've written into your WordPress or Squarespace, whatever it is that you're using. You're going to do the alt text. You're going to do all the SEO coding in it as well. Make sure that the layout is correct, and then you hit publish. So there's a number of steps involved into just creating a blog post. And depending on the type of article that you are writing, that could take you a long time to do the research. It could take you a long time, if you're in the wedding industry, to choose the right images and then to name the images and to resize them and all of that kind of shebang. So think about, with each task that you're doing, what is the individual steps? Almost think about it. Like if you were explaining this to like a 10-year-old, what are the steps involved in creating this task? Now, as a little bonus tip, this is something that I cover with my clients when we are doing their back office operations, when we're creating their standard operating procedure manuals. Actually, breaking tasks down really helps you scale, because when you're growing a team, you've got it all written down already. So just get into the habit whenever you've got a goal, is you begin to think about all the different steps. If you are launching a membership, for example, you have the research stage to go through, and then it's mapping out your beta launch, making sure that you've got the text. So where are the members going to be hosted? Is there going to be a community? How can they pay? Is it subscriptions? So there's a number of things that are involved whenever you are launching something. So it is important you get into the habit of just breaking that down. And if you're unsure of all the different steps, then speak to somebody that can help you. Maybe you've got an industry buddy, maybe you've got a coach you're working with, maybe there's a mentor that you can speak with. So see if you can get the support out there to help you with breaking it down. It may sound tedious, but actually this is fundamental when it comes to mapping out your year, because the success will come with the strategy and the business planning that we've got behind us. So as tedious as this may sound, particularly to the creatives among us, it is really important for your growth. Okay, when you've done that, so you've broken them all down, next step is transfer that into, so all the quarter one goals, transfer that into your quarter one planning workbook or spreadsheet, whatever it is that you use. Again, I will include a link to the article I've written before about 90-day planning, which also has a workbook for you as well. So put it all into your 90-day planning workshop, workbook, sheet even. Okay, next step. I'm losing count of how many numbers we've got down to now, but next step is visualizing your goals. I'm a massive believer in visualizing your goals. I talk about this all the time. It's not enough to fill in your workbook and then put it in a drawer and forget about it. That's not enough. What you need to do is be connected to those goals, feel inspired and excited about the goals that you have created. Here are just some ways that I do this. But I'd love to hear from you. If there's a way that you connect with your goals, share them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So I have on my door, I've got a door in my office, goes to the garage. It's just over there. I have a vertical wall planner. Now I know most people like to use the horizontal ones, but I have a vertical planner and it's on my door. And more importantly, it's split into quarters. So it looks sort of like a bit like that. So it's split into quarters. So I've got, my quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. I love it because it means I can very easily see what am I doing each quarter. So all the important things. I don't put every single goal on my planner, but all the important things like doors opening, my launches, my holidays, things like that go onto my year planner, and it's there, and I can connect with it every day. And it helps me keep motivated to what's coming up. The other thing that I have is in my office is I have my vision board, and that is directly in front of me. So again, I'm able to connect with my big vision. So what is it that I really desire this year? And then the third way I do this, again opposite me, this time on the left-hand side of my office, is I have a large whiteboard. So what I do is once I've mapped out my 90 days, I then break that down into months. And so at the start of each month, I then write down the tasks that I need to do that month and what my targets are that month to get me towards my goals. So I do that every single month. So it means that I'm able to, within my office, I'm connecting to my goals all the time. Every single time that I'm looking ahead of me, I'm connecting with my goals. Okay, so not too sure if the signal keeps going. The final two things is thinking about the support that you might need. So with those goals, are you able to achieve the goals yourself? Do you need to hire a freelancer? Do you need to build your team? Maybe it's somebody on your team already that can do this for you. Do you need the support of a coach or a mentor? Do you need to enroll on a course to get some knowledge in something? Let's say you're going to grow your SEO and you don't want to hire an SEO expert. Okay, so how can you increase your knowledge so that you can grow your SEO, as an example. Remember that you can't do it all. You can't do everything yourself. There will be times that you need to ask for help and ask for support from others. So think about, as you're beginning to grow as an entrepreneur, what tasks do you not need to do? What tasks can be delegated? What tasks can be scrapped? I've spoken to you all before about the zone of genius and working in your zone of genius. Again, I'll include a link to it, probably in the comments. But you want to be staying in your zone of genius and then having others working in the other zones. So when it comes to those tasks, ensure that you're assigning the task that is keeping you in that zone of genius, and then think about what additional support can help you with the other areas instead. Think especially about the tasks that are draining you, the ones that take too long to complete, the ones that leave you staring at the screen in frustration. Can any of these be ditched or outsourced? Okay, and then the last thing we're going to talk about is your financial target. There are two camps. There are those that just don't set themselves a financial target, and then there are those that set themselves a financial target but actually don't think about how they're going to meet that financial target. So the first thing I want you to do is to set yourself a target for the year. And then I want you to write down every single product that you sell or every single service that you sell, and what the price points are. So how many do you need to sell to get to your financial goal? So don't just think about what your financial goal is. I want you to begin to think about, what do you need to sell to make that happen? So many people will say that, they want, a 6-figure launch, but then for a start, they haven't been specific with a 6-figure launch. And then also they haven't thought about, okay, how many do they need to sell? And not only how many do they need to sell to meet that target, but also how will they increase their audience? How can they make that happen? Do they need to spend money on advertising? Do they need to grow their audience, massively? So all these things come into play. So there we go. That's our 6 tips. So take yourself somewhere quiet, as I said, work through this. You can even listen to the video again, just hit pause as you're doing the work, or you can just head on over to my blog and you can read the article there instead if you prefer that way of learning. And if it's helpful, there is the workbook, so feel free to download that. I hope that's been helpful for you. Let me know how you get on, and I look forward to connecting to you very soon in our next instalment of helping you grow and scale your business in a way that's bringing you joy, freedom, and profit. Until next time, this is Bernadette signing off. Bye.